Welcome, everyone. SNS Bills Talk here on the eve of the NFL kickoff tomorrow night against the Eagles and Cowboys. We are obviously going to be talking about the Bills and Ravens on Sunday night, but football season is officially here, less than 24 hours. How are we feeling?
I felt better 5 hours ago than I do right now. That's for sure.
I'm assuming you're talking about the injury report.
Yes.
So let's just dive right into that. The Bills had their first official practice today of the 2025 season with an injury report. Tyler Bass limited, but that's not really what we're concerned about. Christian Benford had a groin that's been lingering, so hasn't practiced since August 21st. He was limited. And then Trey White has a groin and did not practice to go along with Keon Coleman, limited with a groin. So obviously the main concern there would be cornerback, that there's a chance that Ingram and Dane Jackson are starting at boundary cornerback heading into week one.
Don't even say it. You got all these what's all these groin injuries? Like, man, I felt like during camp it was like ankles galore, and then it's just got all these groins now, and we're just, oh my goodness, because I'm sure you've injured your groin before. It's one of those things for which it greatly limits your mobility, especially for a corners and receivers. It's like, gosh, if both of those guys are out, oh my goodness, I couldn't be less excited after hearing it. Like, that sucks.
Yeah, there's only so much, like when injuries strike at one position. It's a month ago we were talking about how the Bills corners are in a good spot. Like if Trey or Max went down, we had each other. Now
At depth.
now Trey, Benford, and Max are all hurt. It's just, like you said, it's not great going into week one. Hopefully Benford can play. That'd be a big boost. But even that, like Trey not even practicing for a few weeks. Benford hasn't practiced since the 21st of August. Like, did the Bills take it super casual and just bite the bullet and have not play? Or like what's the mindset going into week one?
I mean, I think with an older player like Trey, right? Like, if he doesn't, honestly, if he isn't even limited tomorrow, I think he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because groin is one of those things for which it takes a while to like fully recover it. I think at least a couple of weeks, at least in my own personal experience. And because it does limit so much of like what a corner and receiver would do, if he can't go at all tomorrow, I don't see any way for which he plays on Sunday. Now, if it's just one of them, if we can have, if Benford, like say Benford is a full participant at some point, whether it's tomorrow, Friday, I think we'll be okay. But given the fact that our safety position is sort of up in the air, right? Rapp is decent, but what are we going to get with whomever starts opposite of him? Is it going to be Bishop? Is it going to be Hamlin? Is like whoever ends up being back there? I don't know if McDermott had said. But now we have to worry about potentially the other corner, and it's just, oh my goodness. I mean, now fortunately, Baltimore doesn't have a lot of like top tier receivers, right? Like, if we were playing Cincinnati, like we would be absolutely cooked. But I just think it just puts so much more pressure on the defensive line. Like, if they can't stop Henry, and I think it's not an or, it's an and if they can't get a pass rush, it's going to be like Josh will have to score 6 or 7 times. Oh, sorry. The offense, anyways, will have to score 6 or 7 times.
It'll be like the Bengals from last year having to do it, knowing the defense will be.
Oh, man.
But if Benford plays, the Bills aren't the type of team that has their top corner shadow anybody, though, either.
Which is stupid.
The Ravens can game plan Flowers going against Ingram or Dane Jackson. The Ravens don't have a great record, but if I would take Flowers every day of the week against those guys.
I mean, ultimately, it'll come down to if they don't, in fact, move them. And you're right, they don't. It'll just have to be whoever Benford's on. He's going to have to lock him up, and the other corner, they're just going to have to give him help. I mean, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on Taylor Rapp. Like Rapp's going to have to play a near perfect game, because yeah, if we have Bishop or Hamlin starting opposite of him, Hamlin obviously not the best, and Bishop, who knows what we're going to get out of him? Sometimes maybe good, sometimes not. Plus, you have to worry about your second corner. Oh my goodness, like because I want to beat the Ravens so bad, and it's just like all these little this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. And thankfully, Shakir is healthy, right? Thankfully, we do have, I think, decent depth at receiver, and so that doesn't suck as much if Coleman potentially couldn't go. Would it be disappointing? Absolutely. But I just like, given the fact that Baltimore, as far as I can tell, don't have any major injuries, it's like I would love for strength to go against strength, like two full teams going at each other. And even though I would still be furious if we lost, mentally I could handle it a lot better. But now if we lose, and it's like, well, you're missing two starting corners, you're missing this guy, you're missing a starting receiver. It's like, well, now we have to wait the rest of the year to figure out, did they beat us because they were better, or did they beat us because we were hurt?
Yeah, that's for week one. That's kind of like, man, we don't even get into game one and it's already hurt like that.
Yeah.
I still think an underrated injury is Bass. Like him still being on the injury report, them working on all the kickers they did. The last game they played, him having a limit, all right, we can't go beyond this. I'm still concerned about that. Because what if he tweaks it on the opening kickoff? Like the entire game, we can't kick a field goal in a game that against the Ravens that probably will need some field goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's I know it's the focus on the corners and that too, but I think the injury report overall, like even with few names, is kind of crappy. But since we're talking defense, let's go into what the Bills have to do. We are ignoring the secondary, which we talked about. What do they have to do to be successful against Baltimore Sunday? Like,
what does the defense have to do? I mean, I will state the obvious. They have to win the line of scrimmage, right? Like our defensive line needs to move the line of scrimmage backwards, and not get pushed around, because that's exactly what happened in the regular season last year. They were the bullies, and we got bullied, and they pushed us around. And Derrick Henry, who's already good as it is, he's already faster than a man that big should be. He's already, one of the more powerful people on the field at any given time, and he's put plenty of guys on posters. He can do enough by himself, but if you give him massive holes, if you're not making him wade through garbage, it's going to be a long day. And that's, I guess, is my biggest fear, is that this is the regular season game 2.0, where it just comes out and the offense, because Baltimore's defense is good. I mean, Jair Alexander has a hurt knee, so maybe we get lucky there. But if he goes, and they are a solid defense across the board. And so, I just imagine our offense going out. Maybe we get a first down, but we have to punt. They come out and have hit that same first carry, right? 75-yard touchdown. I mean, talk about sucking the life out of the stadium. So what has to happen? The defensive line has to show up. They have to bow up, and they cannot get pushed around. And largely because of our recent, and it feels like it's been years since our defensive line has been stout against the run.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can really see happening is those guys getting pushed around, and early on they set the tone and they keep Josh off the field, right? We need more possession because let's be honest, Lamar is a great quarterback. He's not going to turn the ball over all that much, right? Like if you look at his turnovers throughout the year, he does not throw many interceptions. Okay,
No.
so we're going to have to play clean, and we're going to have to do our best to get Josh as many possessions as possible.
Yeah, but I think linebackers have to have a big game too of Milano and
Milano.
They have to. If the D line does their job, it's going to be linebackers having to go in and get the play cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And Daquan Jones can't have a crappy game. Ed Oliver has to be a force. And really, like the edges, like Joey, Epinesa, and Greg have to keep Lamar hemmed in too, because running game, especially regular season, Lamar runs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Henry, of course, but the Bills can't just get sucked in on that, and then boom, there goes Lamar bouncing it outside around your end who crashed down, trying to get Henry stopped. So the Bills have to play disciplined defense. They all have to do their job because McDermott, like especially given as much time as they've had, you imagine is going to have a game plan to stop them because they both know each other really well.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills have to be like, and they've done it well against Lamar, right? They beat him twice in the postseason. I mean, they beat him in the regular season a couple of years ago. They know how to do it. They just have to play discipline of not letting Lamar beat him with his legs, making him beat him with a pass. And I think it's a linebacker game, right? They're going to have to do the run, but they also have to make sure Andrews and Likely aren't, like, aside from the turnovers and drop, the tight ends did really well against Buffalo last year when they played in the playoffs.
Yep. And that was actually going to be the next thing that I say is I don't see their receivers killing us, but I see their tight ends doing it because, Lamar, again, for how good he is, like he puts you in this uncomfortable position that do you keep your linebackers, inside of the box to go and stop Henry and or shadow Lamar? Do you allow them to go out and pass coverage? And if Lamar breaks out, there's, no one within 5 or 10 yards of him. And then that's where he's the most dangerous because he's so stinking elusive. Do we play nickel most of the time and have a DB spy Lamar because our linebackers, they're quick, but they're not fast enough to go and catch that guy? It's just one of those things for which I know Baltimore obviously has similar conversations about Josh. How do you keep him in? How do you do this? How do you do that? But like our defense is not their defense. Okay. They can lock up our receivers. And so Josh is going to have to play a super clean game. And as good as James Cook is, he's not Derrick Henry. Right. And so it just, I think this game truly is if the front seven of the defense don't do their job, and I like what you said, if they don't play disciplined football, we will not win that game.
Yep. And then offensively, since you mentioned Josh and the Gate Ravens, will flip to that side. I'll start us off here. What the Bills need to do there to win is not turn the ball over and maintain drives. Just like the Ravens want to keep Josh off the field, the Bills need to be running, I think, like a quick passing game, and the running game need to be the keys for the game Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Cook, and I think the last year's game, like they fell behind awful, but they were bringing it back in. And aside from that, not for that stupid trick play, the Bills had gotten momentum at that point. So they shot themselves in the foot by doing dumb things. And they can't have the slow starts they've had so long. I think back to the opener last year against the Cardinals. They were behind most of that, the whole first half and then a lot of the third quarter because they just couldn't wake up. So they can't allow themselves to come out flat. They can't allow themselves do that. And the offense needs to do that by controlling the ball and showing the Ravens, yeah, you're a running team, so are we. Like James Cook, if he gets more carries, we have the best running back trio in the league. We have the most underrated offensive line in the league. So that's where I think for the Bills they need to start. Like everyone looks at Josh, but it's there of ball control and then Josh controlling the sticks with some timely runs and then some. I think Shakir and Coleman and Moore showing like this is what we can do in this short range stuff and getting some like yards after a catch and whatnot.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree with all that. I think so for me, there's two things with the offense. I think it comes down to our tight ends are going to be crucial. That Kincaid and Knox, all right, they need to get open, and when the ball comes their way, they have to catch it and just be physical, be a presence, body guys out. If you're running a 5-yard out, if you're running a curl, if you're doing just be the more physical player and catch the football. Josh will find you if you're open, but I think their secondary is going to be really good. And I think they're going to do a pretty good job on our receivers. They're likely going to have Roquan Smith spying Josh, which means you're going to have hopefully some holes that Kincaid and Knox can work into. So I think if one of those guys has a big day, that's a huge boost for us. The other thing that needs to happen is there's going to be 3 to 5 times in that game that Josh is going to take a shot. Okay. Oftentimes there's dudes that are wide open. Sometimes it's just you go make a play. I imagine Coleman, if he plays, he's going to see all right, Coleman, show me that you're bigger and more physical and go get that football. But those times that Josh takes a shot, okay, he needs to connect. How many times have we seen a wide open receiver, Josh doesn't have a ton of pressure, and he overthrows him? Like he needs to hit, like that is his, and you and I have talked about it. That's, I think, his worst skill at times is hitting the deep open receiver when he's not under pressure. I don't get it whatsoever on how he is so inaccurate at times, but yet if he had a dude in his face, he would drop it in the bucket. So if they're going to take a shot and the receiver's open, he has to make those throws.
I've been in tight ends is where I was going to go next too. We talked last week about maybe the Ravens, their weakness maybe being their linebacker core outside of Roquan, and the safeties. They're going to be playing down in the box. Like that's where Kincaid needs to be working that seam, working that deep middle. If they can become a force there, then the safeties can't sheet up. The box is now open for better runs.
Yeah.
So, I think you're 100% right at the tight ends. I think Kincaid in particular, he needs to have a bounce back of, I'm not injured now. This is why you draft me in the first round. That type of statement game here in prime time.
Yep. And as you said, with the safeties, if they're moving up, we got Palmer because he could create space and get open. So yeah, I can totally see a deep shot to Palmer decently early on. Coleman. I just have a strong feeling that on our very first drive, one of the first 2 plays, the ball's going to travel at least 40 yards downfield.
Like you said, hopefully it's a connection.
I'm just saying, because right, I mean, if it's a connection, that is a massive momentum swing right at the start of the game. But if we have to go out and punt first, like that's always my fear, because you're right, we just start so slow. It makes no sense. It's like because I get it, like they script the first 10 or 15 plays. But man, how many times, like so many games where we come out and it's just some BS, or the thing that we haven't talked about yet, the mental mistakes, right? How many times have we had a big gain, a great play? How many awesome Josh Allen touchdowns have been wiped off the board because some bonehead decided to hold when they didn't need to, or the refs called Dion for holding when he didn't actually do it. Right?
Yes.
I just between stupid play calling and just killing penalties. I I would love. I think for us, what's the perfect start? The perfect start is a drive that gets going with again a nice Josh Allen 30-40 yard pass on the field, gets everyone juiced up, and then a nice, the remaining 30-ish yards, a methodical march, touchdown.
Yeah.
Obviously points in general on the first drive are helpful, but just for my own mental um, for my own sanity, if you will, a touchdown would do wonders on the first drive, because as of right now, I expect a punt, which
Then
is
the
stupid.
opposite is true for the defense.
Yeah, same. I expect us to punt and then to score a touchdown.
And that's not being cynical. Like, if you look at what the Bills are like, yes, their defense gets turnovers, and I'll give them credit. Like, they turn things around, but way too often the first drive or two, no matter who the opponent is. I was watching a highlight video from the Titans game last year. We were down 2 scores because we couldn't stop the friggin' Titans and Mason Rudolph. And then and then we beat them by like 4 touchdowns. But the Bills just do that so often of the defense. Oh, we got to get a drive or two to find our feet. No. How about you set the tempo and you set send the message early on?
Yeah.
So, to me, that needs to happen too. Yes, the quick start on offense, but how about a 3 and out by the defense to start the year? That would be absolutely fantastic to set a tone.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But again, it's something for which you say it, and it's obviously that is the best case scenario. But like, I can't envision it because so often it doesn't happen. You know what I expect? I expect us to get them in like a 3rd and 14, and then we go up the first down.
Be a little
That's what I
more.
expect. And to even talk about the offense in a way where like I anticipate a punt, that's insane. We were the second highest scoring offense in the regular season. But it just you look at our points in the first quarter. I don't know this to be a fact, but I imagine if we looked at Bills scoring by quarter, the fewest points we score is in the first, and probably the most that we score is in the second and third.
I think that goes hand in hand with the defense giving up the drives to start.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is by far the Bills' toughest game to start the year. Again, we talked about last week, getting the Ravens week 1 is just not great in terms of getting started. But last year, a lot of teams lost in week 1 and still made the playoffs. The Ravens started 0-2 and obviously still made out pretty well. But predictions. I know we did this months ago. Lots has changed since then. So kick us off with your prediction for Sunday night's game.
So it's tough. I feel as though as long as if we go into that game with a healthy Keon and a healthy Benford, I think we win that game. If those guys do not play, I think we lose that game.
So if Benford plays but Coleman's out, we lose.
No, I still think we win because I think Josh is good enough to make up for that. Benford, frankly, to me, and the game is more than just one player, obviously. But Benford, I think he's too important just from the simple fact that if he can't go, now we have to worry about both corners. Now we have to have safeties that have to worry about, okay, do I need to help these guys? Versus Benford, it's what? I don't have to worry about him. Okay, he has been locked down, and that guy, he's got it out of sight, out of mind. Taryn is still Taryn. And okay, maybe we have to help over with the other corner. That we can manage. I think Benford is going to be in effect, the X factor of if he plays, I think we win a close one. If he doesn't, I think we lose by probably 10 or 14.
A big start to the year. I don't think it matters who plays. I mean, when we did our predictions way long ago, I had the same opinion. I don't think it's a great opening matchup for us. Again, a loss doesn't by any means end the season. The next 5 games are really winnable. Worst 5-1, but throwing in the injuries they have now on top of what I already had thought, I think a loss is very likely. I just hope that it's a game where we lose and Josh still plays really well. Because I don't want to already hear the talk of overrated Josh should have won MVP and all that nonsense, which will come out if we lose and he plays poorly.
Well,
and also I'll take like Bass opening kickoff. Oh, groin's hurt. There goes field goals. So the Bills' injuries are just, I think, too grouped and too targeted right now to just brush aside.
Right, but I mean, and maybe you already know this, but Isaiah Likely, their fullback Ricard more than likely won't play on Sunday, and Jair Alexander is dealing with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Likely not playing is a huge help for us, right? I mean, he killed us.
It is. But I think Andrews is going to be extremely motivated to kind of kill the memory from last playoff. And he's one of the Ravens like all-timers. So you figure somebody like him is going to be in, the Ravens might have a little bit of a let's get him involved early to kind of get that taste out of his mouth type thing.
Well, when hopefully our defenders can put that taste back in his mouth.
So, I mean, obviously hope I'm wrong, but I said it months ago, and I think you predicted a win months ago.
You know what? Screw you, Lawrence. Bills are winning. I don't even care.
Yes. Forget me. Quickly before we end the show, since last week, the Bills have brought back a bunch of old faces. Jordan Poyer signed since we did although he was released, but he's going to sign back tomorrow. That's the way the stupid practice squad works with vested veterans. He was released to make room for Gabe Davis, but Poyer will re-sign tomorrow. So quick thoughts on Gabe and Poyer, because we already talked about Jordan Phillips last week. Poyer and Gabe Davis finding their way back to one Bills drive.
Poyer better only see the field if Hamlin actually dies this time. But no, I mean, I don't know. I like Poyer enough, right? I mean, I think in spot duty and actually, I'd rather have Jordan Poyer back there than DeMar Hamlin, because Poyer, like, physically, it's harder for him to go and get it done, but like mentally, he still got it. Whereas Hamlin, I just think he doesn't have either. So, I mean, if nothing else, I'm hoping he does sort of what Hyde did and was there sort of like a pseudo player coach, if you will, coaching up Cole Bishop. And then Gabe, I mean, say which one about Gabe. That dude got open. Now the drops, sure, I complain about the drops numerous times, but he got open. And so he knows Josh. And so frankly, if somebody can't get hurt, if Coleman can't go, I mean, I see Gabe Davis as a poor man's Keon Coleman. Now, granted, I would rather have Shavers get reps over Gabe, but right, like if you could pick any dude off the street to go and play a few snaps in our offense, I'd rather have it be a guy that has a rapport with Josh Allen and has scored 20-something touchdowns over the course of 4 seasons.
And I mean, right now it's practice squad, so they're not taking up a roster spot.
Sure.
Poyer, I was ready to be gone with him when he was a Bill, and then watching him in Miami last year, good Lord.
Yeah, you got cooked.
Especially that first game we played against him where Cook Poyer thought he had the angle, and he's like, nope. I mean, to me, I was laughing like, there we go, Dolphins saying, there's the Poyer you wanted.
Yeah.
But I think the difference there, that you mentioned, like the Hyde. I don't think you've watched this episode of Hard Knocks yet.
No, I haven't.
Poyer has a mindset of like, I'm not coming to take anyone's job, but he thinks like Hyde came in knowing I'm not going to be playing. I'm here to mentor.
Yeah.
Poyer still thinks he has something to give and is going to be. So I think that's the only difference is Hyde was there to only like mentor and kind of guide the youngsters. Poyer's there to, he's still out to get his. And
but again,
I just worry that I don't want him taking things from Bishop.
Sure, but say Bishop gets hurt, say Rapp gets hurt, and if you had to choose Poyer or Hamlin, I know it's two terrible choices, but like I would
sign Jabril Peppers. He's a free agent. I would take Peppers over either one of those two.
Yeah, but he doesn't fit the bill. Like he has too many off the field issues. He doesn't fit the culture.
Better than Poyer and Hamlin.
I'm just saying, like McDermott has shown time and time again that he will not sacrifice talent over character.
Oh, maybe B needs to override that and be like, we need to win.
You know what I mean, though, right? Like the Bills roster is built of just good dudes, right? You would never find a Tyreek Hill, a Jalen Ramsey type player on our team.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, Maxwell has a history, but Dion restructured his contract, so I don't know if that's just so we have any cap space at all, or if they have a minor move incoming.
When did that happen?
I think yesterday, or like today or yesterday, because I saw it on WGR. It was after we signed our practice squad. Yeah. So I don't know if it was just to like, hey, we're pretty up against it, so we need to restructure just so we have money to get through the year, knowing we might have to sign a few guys because of injuries, which every team does.
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't want Poyer or Hamlin anywhere near the starting lineup. I want Rapp and I want Bishop to stay healthy the entire year and show why they're the next dynamic duo.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But no one cares what you want, so.
Cat don't care what you want. But that's our show for this week. We'll be back next week to talk about the Bills' loss to the Ravens and then looking forward to the game against the Jets, which should be a win.
If we lose to the – oh, my gosh. This is like the worst iteration of the Jets in recent memory, and the Jets have had some all-time garbage teams.
I don't think the Jets are complete pushovers. Their defense has still caused us problems the last few years, and then
their offense is straight booty cheeks. Okay, like the most important position on the field, quarterback, they suck. Like Justin Fields sucks.
No, but he can run, and he had a winning record with the Steelers.
Yeah, well, he didn't play us.
No, but the Bills played Zach Wilson and lost. I would say Field is better than Zach Wilson.
I wouldn't. And I'm a doctor, so I would know.
And on that note, everybody, we'll call it a night. The Bills play Sunday night against the Ravens. We'll be back next week to talk about that game and what's coming. Hopefully, lots of good stuff to digest and go through next week, but we'll see. NFL is back. Eagles, Cowboys tomorrow night. Chargers, Chiefs Friday night, and then a full slate on Sunday, even though there's no more commercial-free football on the Red Zone because ESPN is putting commercials in. Thankfully, I don't watch the Red Zone. Everyone else who does seems to be really mad about that.
Yeah, I never watch it. I couldn't care less.
No, I want to watch an actual game, not the highlights of it.
Same.
But speaking of which, I'm very excited for when I do the quad box on YouTube this year when I have my 100-inch TV. Like each box is going to be like 25, 30 inches. So it'll actually be really nice this year.
You used to taking that.
And for that, everybody, we'll close our show like we always do by saying, Go Bills.
Go Bills.